The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Frenchtown Rural Fire Protection District, Montana, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 36347. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. Let's get started on a brief orientation. Just under the front bumper, you'll find 2 open-ended attachment points. These are not intended for towing your vehicle. Moving up onto the very face of the front bumper, dual air horns on the passenger and driver side. Moving toward the center, you'll find an electronic siren and PA speaker. As we move up onto the bumper extension, you'll find a D handle gains you access into a front hose storage location. As we move to the driver's side, you'll find your mechanical siren. Moving up onto the body of the cab, you'll find on the outer edge a turn indicator marker light. Just inside of that location is the headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights. The high beam will be located on the inside. As we move further up, you'll find the cluster housing a turn indicator and an emergency warning light. Moving to the windshield, seamless one-piece windshield, 3 windshield wipers. As we move to the outer edge, your mirror housing a flat and convex mirror. And as we move up to the brow of the apparatus, you'll find 5 ID clearance lights. Directly in the center, you have a forward-facing floodlight, and as we move up onto the top of the roof, it's where you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at some of the items we just talked about, first starting with that center-mounted electronic siren PA speaker. Moving to the outer edge, dual air horns, and as we move up onto the top of the bumper extension, that's where you'll find your mechanical siren. Also on the side of the bumper extension, you'll find a side-facing emergency warning light. Tubbed storage location, dry deck material inside, and also a swivel discharge in the front bumper. Headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights, turn indicator, emergency warning light. Here is the extension showing that emergency warning light side facing. Let's take a look at the marker light. This is on the A pillar. Then as we move around to the mirror, flat and convex mirror, let's now move just to the right of this location where you'll find easily accessible grab handles for your door locks. They are also keyed, and right next to it you'll find a grab handle for gaining entry and exit out of the cab. Let's move just to the right where you'll find a shoreline inlet. This is an auto eject plug. It's 20 amp. Moving to the right, the blue auto eject. This is for your air inlet. Let's go ahead and now move to the door panel where you'll find this yellow placard. We'll go over that in just a few moments. You'll also find all of our safety and warning placard information affixed to the door panel. As we move up, you'll find the door lock and latch. And then further up, you'll find window controls. They are electric windows. And then also a grab handle. Let's move back to the yellow placard now and talk a little bit about some of the items within this information plaque. First, you'll find the date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, and cold tire inflation. You'll also find the VIN number, all of the fluid capacities and fluid types for each of the components. Let's move down to the stepwell area, and then we'll move back into the location of the cab for the driver's seat. On the pedestal of the driver's seat, when plugged into Shoreline Power, this is your battery auto charge system. Your seat does have comfort controls. It is an air ride. That's the mechanism for inflating or deflating air in the seat, and then also forward and backwards. Let's go ahead and take a look at the floor area where you'll find your mechanical siren foot pedal. To the right, you'll find the brake treadle, and then also further to the right, you'll find the accelerator. Moving up to about the left knee of the operator, you'll find the silver quarter turn master battery switch. And then just to the right of that location, you'll find the engine, transmission, J1939 data port. Moving further down, you'll find ABS diagnostics, DPF regen, and DPF regen inhibit switches. Let's move up now to the right side of the steering column where you'll find your pump shift. There are instructions from road to pump on the placard, and also to the right you'll find instructions on the placard from pump to road. Just as a reminder, you need two green indicators, pump engaged and OK to pump, for pump operations prior to exiting the cab. Let's go ahead and move now to the dash area where you'll find your start and ignition switch on the left A-pillar, and then just to the right you'll find a switch labeled EM. This will engage or disengage all emergency lights. Also, panel switch here and headlight switch. On the steering column itself you'll find turn indicator. Further down you'll find push for telescope and also pull for tilt of the steering column. Also on the lower section of the steering column you'll find your hazard lights. Let's move to the dash now, where you'll find on the left side your water temp, oil pressure, def and transmission. To the right you'll find volts, fuel, and front and rear air. In the center you'll find your tachometer and speedometer. Diagnostic information displays above and below the speedometer, including in a digital readout in the very center below the tachometer and speedometer. As we move to the right of the dash, it's where you'll find the OK to engage the high idle indicator and switch. Moving further to the right, just a general view here of the cab functions within reach of the operator. Let's start now just to the right with the main mirror and convex mirror controls. This is right next to the pump shift, and as we move up from that location you'll find the yellow diamond. This is the pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. As we move further to the right you'll find the Allison transmission pad. It does have a push button and also a digital readout. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the switches within this area. First, starting with the engine brake on and off switch, also a setting for that engine brake for low, medium, and high. Mirror heat, a siren brake. This is for your mechanical siren, and then also a protected switch for your tire chains. Moving just up from that location, we're going to find front scene, driver side cab scene, driver scene, passenger side cab scene, passenger scene, and rear scene. Let's move up to the next item, which is your wheel-in control module for your electronic siren and PA speaker. Climate control for heat, defrost, and air conditioning. Let's look just to the right of this location of the operator where you'll find your seatbelt information. Red indicating someone is in the seat but not belted. Green, they're in the seat and belted. You'll also find a red light in the center. This is indicating do not move your apparatus. If the light is on, you may have a door or compartment open. Let's look overhead of the operator space on the dash area at the top, where you'll find the height 10 feet 0 inch, length 32 feet 10 inch, gross vehicle weight rating 45,000 pounds. We also have the job number located in the lower left-hand corner. Let's move to the right of this location. We'll find some additional switches: emergency master, roof light, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, and upper rear warning. When any of these switches have been activated, the green light will illuminate, indicating the light is active. To the right, we have high beam flash, air horn or electric horn selector switch, and load manager. Traffic advisor. Let's go ahead and go back exterior now to the front wheel, where you'll find Alcoa wheels, Goodyear tire, and then also a visual sight gauge for your front axle. As we move to the top section directly over the front axle, you'll find the cab scene light, and then we move down to the cab area where we'll find a step gaining access into the rear portion of the cab. Right next to that, you'll find D-handle gains you access into an additional storage location at the rear section of the cab. We do have an emergency warning light on the rear section of the cab wall at the door handle level, and then also at the very top section you'll find water tank level indicator. This is an LED indicator. As we move to the rear cab area, you'll find affixed to the door panel safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, window control, and grab handle. We also have a red grab handle. This is going to be located right at the hinge point. This is just for gaining entry and exit out of the cab. Let's move inside now, where you'll find fold down seats on the rear wall, and an EMS compartment directly in the center area. Underneath the rear-facing seats is where you'll find your heater. This is an auxiliary heater. And then also just above that, you'll find rear-facing firefighter seats, which house SCBAs. In between, you're going to find a lift and turn latch will gain you access into the rear section of the engine for your daily checks for oil and transmission. Overhead, air conditioning unit. As we move to the rear wall, roll-up door gains access into the compartment space between the two seats on the rear wall. As we move down to the pump panel, let's start down at the very bottom section just under the running board, where you'll find color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Moving up from this location, just a general view of the pump panel. We'll talk a little bit about some of the items. First, starting on the left-hand side with color-coded and labeled discharge drains. As we move just up from this location, you'll find your wattress placard indicating the type of pump you have and the capacity 1,500 GPM. We do have a minimum operation maintenance schedule. We'll talk about that in just a few moments. Also, the driver's side auxiliary inlet. This is a 2.5-inch ball valve, locally controlled, and it also has a female inlet. I would like to point out this warning placard. Only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment only after proper training. Additional color-coded discharges. Let's move further to the right where we'll find a pan door, lift and turn latch gains you access behind, and then also your manual pump shift. Moving up from this location, warning placard indicating foam failure. Do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. Also, your main pump drain located on the right. As we move up, this is your foam system draft or tank fill location, the red lever selector switch, and also inlet. American flag Eagle Pierce logo, large diameter, driver's side inlet. As we look to the left, you'll find a warning placard regarding entanglement hazard caps, or I should say, because of those hoses coming from aloft, there's the possibility of entanglement. The next one down, warning, pressure hazard, caps may be under pressure. There are two 2.5-inch discharge, number 1 and number 2. Correction, number 3. As we move up, just a quick look at the upper portion of the panel. We'll start on the left, starting with the driver's side 1, passenger side 2, driver's side number 3, discharge. These are all 2.5-inch. As we move up, you'll find the front discharge, Speedlay 1 and Speedlay 2. These happen to be all foam capable. This is your Husky foam system in the red module. There are operating instructions on it. It's a Husky 3. This is the system on-off button. It's a relatively simple system with 4 steps. Green is the on-off once again. We do have a digital readout for foam percentage. The gray buttons are going to be either increase or decrease that percentage, and then also a prime button. As we move to the right, you'll find a system status light. That system status light coincides with the system number 4 status lights. And then as we move to the right, foam system instructions, and then also a foam level indicator for foam tank A. Let's move just upward from this location to the minimum operation maintenance schedule for 150, 200, and 250 PSI. You'll see the associated GPM at test pressure, and then also the associated RPM at test pressure located on this plaque. Let's move down just below the Pierce logo, where you'll find your large diameter passenger side discharge. The wheel itself has an indicator for open and close. As we move to the right, you'll find the fire pump primer. It is a push to prime air prime, at least 1,000 RPMs for best practices. To the right, you'll find the engine cooler. This is a twist, not a pull, and then also tank to pump. As we move up, you'll find this black speaker. This is an audible alarm. The outer edge of the bezel does allow you to dampen or brighten the sound. The blue module here is your water tank level indicator. It coincides with the one on the side of the cab, and then also your tank fill and recirculating line. Just a quick warning here regarding fall hazard. Always face the vehicle while climbing onto the vehicle. As we move down, you'll find the deluge discharge and then also passenger rear discharge. As you can see, that's foam capable. Here's the Husky 3 foam system specifications, and as we move up to the very top in the gray module, you're going to find your master intake gauge, and then right next to that, you'll find the master discharge gauge. Below that, you'll find the test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. These are currently plugged and are utilized for testing purposes. Let's move downward and slightly to the right, where you're going to find the pressure throttle governor. If illuminating, it would be yellow in color. It would be a check engine light. In the very center, you have a digital readout for the RPMs, and then to the right, if illuminated, it would be red in color. That is the stop engine. Moving further down, the orange is the menu button, which allows you to scroll through the various menu functions of your pressure throttle governor. We do have engine tally information also located on this module. To the right, you'll find the red silence button. This allows you to silence any audible alarms that the device may be creating. The blue section, you have an option of either pressure mode or RPM mode. In the center, digital readout. To the right, throttle ready. That is a green indicator indicating it's okay to engage the throttle. As we move down, we have a preset button. That's the green button. That's allowing you to either set pressure presets or RPM presets. And at the very bottom, this is your throttle, right to increase, left to decrease. And in the center, we have an idle button, push for idle. As I move to the right, we've got some switches located here, but the one I wanted to point out is the OK to pump indicator switch. That's indicating that everything has been completed at the pump panel area and it's okay to engage the pressure throttle governor. Also, panel lights and also some scene lights are located in the lower section. As we move to the vertical sidewall, you'll find fold down steps located on the vertical sidewall and also a grab handle. Let's move now to the body section, identify a few items. We'll start at the top. We have two scene lights. Moving further down to the very bottom, you'll find two folding wheel chocks just in front of the rear axle. In front of that also, you're going to find a marker turn indicator light. This is the midpoint light. And then just up from that, we're going to find the two SCBA bottle storage locations, emergency light directly over the axle, and then also we have a fuel and DEF fill locations. Down behind the right side of the axle in this image, you'll also find an additional receiver hitch for your portable winch. Now all compartments in the open, we're going to find LED lighting inside, and also we'll find adjustable shelving. Close up here of the wheel chocks. As we move into that first compartment, when plugged into Shoreline power, that activates this outlet, which also in turn activates your battery charger, maintaining batteries. In the center compartment, we're going to find a pull-out and tilt outward shelf that folds down. Also, Shoreline power outlets located in this compartment. As we move to the front section of the actual SCBA bottle storage, two with retaining straps and also your blue DEF fill location. To the rear, two SCBA retaining straps and the silver ultra low sulfur diesel fuel. Also directly behind, once again, we previously mentioned that's the receiver hitch for a portable winch or also attachment point. Let's move now to the rear where you'll find reverse, brake, turn, and then also emergency light at the top. We'll also find hose bed lights and rear scene lights. These are the cup switch that allow you to activate those prospective switches. License plate holder light. As we move up also, you'll find a rear facing scene light. LED water tank level indicator, and then also your ladder for gaining access to go aloft. We do have a hitch receiver located at the rear and perimeter lighting. In the center compartment, we have a shelf that's adjustable and then also a pull-out tray in the lower section. As we move up, you'll find a direct tank fill. This is a 2.5-inch ball valve, locally controlled female. As we move to the right, we have a rear discharge, 2.5-inch, and then just below that, you'll find your traffic advisor. A couple close-ups here of some of those images. Once again, direct tank fill, and then 2.5-inch rear discharge. Once again, starting with the right side, we have emergency light, brake, turn, and reverse lights. Your vehicle is equipped with a 24-foot extension, 14-foot roof, and at the top, an attic ladder, 10-foot folding, and then two locations for pike pole storage. As we move up to the very top, we have two compartments. The outer edge is a diamond-plated compartment, and then just above that, you'll also find an additional compartment, and this is for your hose storage location for your suction hose. As we move around to the rear passenger side of the vehicle. This is the rear portion behind the axle. Same access for the receiver hitch. Let's go ahead and start down some of the compartments here and identify items within this area. Compartments open, we have adjustable shelving, a tool board, and then also a pull-out tray. The tool board is accessed via a D handle, will gain you access to the back side. Once that is open, it will lock into position, requiring you to lift the locking mechanism on the hinge side. We do have additional SCBA bottle storage locations located here and also protective mat. 2 SCBA bottles with a retaining strap and also an oxygen bottle. As we move down to the pump panel, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the items within this area. Vertical wall also has fold down steps. As we move to the lower section, all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. As we move to the pump panel, you'll find your American flag Eagle Pierce logo, large diameter passenger side inlet, and then also the green here is going to be your large diameter discharge passenger side. Warning placard regarding pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. Passenger side number 2, 2.5 inch discharge, and then also an additional warning placard regarding warning entanglement hazard. Because of those lines, there is the possibility of entanglement. This is just a close-up of the Pierce American flag Eagle large diameter passenger side. It currently has a cap. As you look behind the pump panel, you'll find the pressure relief valve. There is a setting screw on the outside edge. As we move forward to that location, you're going to find your cab lift. We have instructions here to raise the cab and then also instructions to lower the cab. Please ensure all items within the cab are secure. We also have some caution and danger information placard on this device. Also a warning regarding when climbing onto the vehicle, please face the vehicle and never ride on the vehicle while it's in motion. Let's go ahead and move to the very top section here. Folding steps and also a grab handle. This is the top access into the dunnage area. We're now to the cab area of the truck on the passenger side. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rear section of the cab. D handle gains us access into this compartment just below the emergency warning light. As we continue around the side of the cab area, let's take a quick look at the door. It has your department name, also easily accessible grab handle, and also a latch keyed. As we move to the mirror, once again flat and convex mirror, unit identifier on the A pillar. Just below that, you'll find a marker turn indicator light on that same A pillar. As we move around to the front bumper, you'll find the front bumper extension side-facing emergency warning light, and then just a general view of the front and side of the driver's and passenger area. Congratulations, Frenchtown Rural Fire Protection District, Montana, on your new Pierce fire apparatus. Job number 36347-01. If you have any questions regarding your apparatus, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.